It's 11 at night. The kids are asleep. The kitchen is clean. Lunches are made. The laundry's in the dryer. You got through the day. You did everything. And you're lying there staring at the ceiling, completely unable to turn your brain off. Because tomorrow there's a permission slip that needs to go back. And your daughter mentioned she thinks her best friend is mad at her. You need to follow up on that. And someone needs to RSVP to the birthday party by Thursday. And you're almost out of the particular brand of yogurt your son will actually eat. And you need to schedule the dentist. You've been meaning to schedule the dentist for 6 weeks. Your partner is asleep. And you are lying there in the dark, running the entire household in your head. If you know this feeling, if this is just your Tuesday, then you already know what the mental load is. You just might not have a name for it yet. And you might not have realized yet that this invisible work, the managing, the tracking, the anticipating, the remembering, is not small. It is enormous. And it is almost certainly destroying you quietly. The mental load is not the chores. That's the first thing I want to say clearly. The mental load is what sits on top of the chores. It is the managing of everything. There's a difference between doing the laundry and being the person who notices the laundry pile is growing, decides when it needs to happen, knows which cycle for which clothes, tracks that you're running low on detergent, and adds detergent to the shopping list. Your partner might do the laundry. But if you are the one doing all of that other work, the noticing, the tracking, the deciding, the planning, you are carrying the mental load. The French writer Emma Camille coined the term in a 2017 comic that went viral because millions of women read it and said, "This is my life. This is exactly what I have never been able to explain." The comic showed a couple trying to share housework. And what the partner kept missing was that the doing wasn't the problem. The managing was the problem. Being told, just ask me and I'll help, sounds like a solution, but it isn't. Because if you are the one who has to ask, you are still the one managing. You are still the CEO of the household, and you have just hired an employee who waits for instructions. That is not a partnership. That is a different kind of burden. The mental load has layers. And the reason it's so exhausting is that none of them are visible. Nobody sees them. Nobody tracks them. They don't show up on a shared to-do list. They live entirely inside one person's head. Layer one, noticing. Noticing is the most invisible of all. You notice the Band-Aid supply is getting low. You notice your son's school shoes are getting too small. You notice your daughter seems quiet lately, and you file that away. You notice the teacher sent a note home, and it needs a response. You notice the milk is almost out before anyone else does. Noticing is constant. It never stops, even when you are at work, even when you are in the shower, even when you are trying to watch something with your partner at night. Part of your brain is always running in the background, scanning the household, cataloging what needs attention. Most partners do not do this, not because they're bad people, but because they learned early on in the relationship that the noticing would be handled. So they stopped. Layer two, remembering the school calendar, which kid has what allergy and which foods they'll actually eat, who the kids' friends are, where they live, who's currently in a fight with whom, what the pediatrician said at the last visit, what needs to go back in the library bag, when the car needs an oil change. The sheer volume of information required to run a household with children is staggering. And in most families, one person holds almost all of it. Research from the University of Bath in 2021 found that mothers manage 71% of the cognitive load of the household. and child rearing. 71%. That is not a partnership. That is one person carrying the majority of an invisible second job. Layer 3, planning. Playdates need to be scheduled. Doctor's appointments need to be booked. Birthday presents need to be bought and wrapped before the party. Meals need to be planned so that shopping makes sense. School events need to be on the calendar. Summer childcare needs to be figured out months in advance. Planning requires mental energy. It requires thinking ahead, holding multiple future events in your head simultaneously and working backwards from each one. And if the planning doesn't get done, things fall apart. The present doesn't come in time. The doctor appointment doesn't happen until the kid is already sick. The camp is full. And when things fall apart, who gets blamed? Not the person who wasn't planning. The person who was. Layer 4, anticipating emotional needs. This is the one nobody ever talks about. Knowing your child is going to have a hard time at the birthday party because they've been struggling socially lately, and planning how to handle it before you get there. Sensing that your partner has been stressed at work and preemptively making space for that. Knowing your son needs one-on-one time soon because you haven't had any in a while. Anticipating emotional needs is a form of labor. It requires constant attunement, reading people, tracking states, predicting responses, and adjusting the household environment accordingly. It is exhausting, and it is done almost entirely by mothers, almost entirely invisibly, and almost entirely without acknowledgement. I want to spend a minute on this because I know this is where a lot of conversations go sideways. You bring up the mental load. Your partner says, I'll help more, just tell me what you need. And you want to scream because telling someone what you need is itself the mental load. If I have to notice the thing, remember the thing, plan the thing, and then hand it off to you, I haven't offloaded any of the work. I've just added a management step. What actually changes the mental load is not more helping. It is ownership. Ownership means you own that thing completely. You notice it, you track it, you plan it, you do it without being asked, without being reminded, without checking in on whether you did it right. That is completely different from helping. And the conversation about mental load, the one that actually moves something, is not help me more. It is, I need you to own something specifically by name, not in general. I'll come back to how to have that conversation. I want to be honest about this part because I think a lot of us push through without naming it. The mental load has a cost. The research on this is now substantial. A 2019 study published in the American Sociological Review found that women who carry a disproportionate share of household cognitive labor report significantly higher levels of stress, poorer sleep quality, and lower relationship satisfaction. Not mildly lower, significantly. And a 2023 Harvard study on maternal burnout found that cognitive overload, the mental load, was the single strongest predictor of burnout, more so than hours of physical childcare. Not the physical doing, the invisible managing. What does this look like in real life? It looks like resentment that builds quietly toward a partner who seems relaxed, toward evenings when everyone else in the house is watching TV or playing games while your brain is still working. It looks like exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix because you wake up already running the list. It looks like anger that comes out sideways at the partner for something small, at the kids for something minor, because The pressure has been building somewhere you couldn't name it. It looks like losing yourself, looking up from the management of everyone else's lives and realizing you have stopped tending to your own. This is not a small thing. This is a health issue, a relationship issue, a quality of life issue, and it is overwhelmingly falling on one person. Let me be direct about what does not help first. It does not help to just outsource individual tasks. Hiring a cleaner helps with the doing. It does not help with the managing. Someone still has to notice, track, book, brief, and manage the cleaner. It does not help to make a chore chart, because a chore chart is itself a piece of mental load. Someone created it, someone enforces it, someone updates it. That someone is probably you. It does not help to write a longer list. Lists that you make and then hand to a partner still required you to make them. What actually helps is a structural shift. Here's the concept. And it's simple, even if it's hard to implement. Complete cognitive transfer. Not I'll help with that. Not just remind me. You fully, permanently, completely own that domain. You are the one who notices, tracks, plans, executes, and manages it. Not until I remind you, forever. This is different in feeling from task handoff. When a person owns a domain, it comes off the other person's brain entirely. They stop tracking it. They stop noticing gaps. They stop managing a manager. Some families do this by area. You own the kids, medical, all appointments, all tracking, all history. You own the car, everything about the car. You own the school communication, every email, every form, every event. The ownership has to be complete to matter. Half ownership is still half the mental load plus full management. If you need to have this conversation with your partner, and a lot of you do, here's how to not have it in a way that turns into a fight. Don't have it when you're already in the middle of it, not when you're trying to get dinner on the table, not when you just got back from doing the grocery run alone again. Pick a moment when you're both calm and have time, and start with the invisible, not the unfair, not you never help and I do everything. That's a fight waiting to happen. Instead, I want to show you something. I want to show you what's in my head right now. And then you list it. Not to attack, to make the invisible visible. Here's everything I'm currently tracking. Here's what I noticed today. Here's what I'm planning for this week that you don't even know is happening. A lot of partners genuinely have no idea. Not because they don't care, because it's invisible. Because you've been managing it so completely that the seams don't show. When they see it, the actual list, the actual volume, something often shifts. Then you say, I don't need you to help me more. I need you to own something completely. What can you take permanently without reminders right now? And you negotiate. Not a chore chart, domains. Start with one or two things. Something that matters to you. Something that you are willing to fully let go of, including letting them do it their way. That last part is important. If you take ownership back because they didn't do it your way, the transfer didn't happen. You are still the manager. Letting go of ownership means letting go of how it gets done. Before I go, I want to name something. Some of you watching this are not going to have this conversation because you don't have a partner, because your partner isn't safe to have this conversation with, because you've tried and it didn't go anywhere. This video isn't a judgment on your situation, but I do want to say the mental load you are carrying is real. Its cost is real. And you deserve to know that what you are doing is not small, even when no one sees it, even when it feels like nothing. The managing, the tracking, the anticipating, the planning, that is work, that counts. And recognizing it as such, even just inside yourself, is not self-pity. It's accurate. The next video I'd recommend after this one is about stay-at-home mom burnout, because everything I just described gets even heavier when home is also your workplace. I'll link it right here. I'll see you there.